television or movies, what does it mean when this happens? It means get your finger out of the way. No, it means action. Hi, I'm Bruce Blitz, and welcome to Cartooning with Blitz. And that's what we'll be doing today, cartoons in action. Because as the cartoonist, we have to draw the action and feel it. Not quite like that, though. And for our feature of the day, turn the moon into a cartoon. Some friends will be stopping by to help me with that one, and it's a great way to get lots of different cartoons out of the same face. Now, for our doodle trick portion today, job tunes. Different cartoons done from what people use in their everyday occupations. So let's get started and draw our first cartoon, and it's going to be of a hurdler, a runner, coming straight at us. And that's a great one. It's got a lot of action and a lot of neat things come into play for this sketch. I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to pencil it in and use a stick figure. Make an oval right there for his head. Now watch this. Arm goes out. This is his shoulders. Now this is an interesting thing because this circle represents his fist on the hand that is closest to us. And this one back here is in the distance, and that circle's a little bit smaller. Yet, of course, both his hands are the same size, but in perspective, it doesn't appear that way. Now that's his figure, his torso. And now for his legs. Now he's going to be jumping over a hurdle. So this long line here is going to represent his front leg coming forward, and this is his back leg. Now again, just like the hands, this shape is going to be smaller than the foot in the foreground. See that? And actually this one here is the one that has to clear the hurdle all the time. Could be the first one that gets it, but usually it's the one in the back. And if that one makes it, he's home free. If not, well, it falls over. So that's a ground line. Now let's go back in with our marker and put some detail on this guy. Okay, now I'm going to do his face first. Now, let's say that this did hit, so his facial expression will tell us that he's looking down at his foot, eyes wide open. His mouth, well, watch this. And his ears. Now, the good thing about sporting events is that you have a whole built-in set of facial expressions just because of the situation. And here's his hair, which is flying back. Now, he's looking at his foot, catching it. Now let's draw the rest of his face. And all we do is go over that shape that we started with. And for his shoulders, little line like that. And you don't see the rest of his arm. Now let's put his hand in a fist. All right, little knuckles. And right here, we'll put his torso in. Put his outfit on as well. Let's give him a number. He's number 1. Of course, he's the first sketch we've done today. And here's his shoulders, and here's his other arm. Now, I'm not going to go quite as far as I penciled it in, but that's the purpose of the pencil stage anyway. And now watch this. Here's his fist, and it's a little bit smaller than this one. And that gives you a little bit of depth to your picture. All right, now, same thing with his front leg here. We're going to make that a little bit larger. And this is his shorts. All right. And this is his knee and his calf. Now see how it flares out up at the knee, and it goes down to the foot. Now we're seeing the bottom of his foot here. And let's put some spikes. That helps him run, right? And the top part. And some socks. All right, now his back leg. Well, we come down, and let's draw that foot. Now we stop there because we're going to have it hitting the hurdle, because he didn't quite make it, guys. So we draw that because the hurdle overlaps the foot. And this is how the hurdle is constructed. See how it's done where these things go behind, so if he hits it, it'll just fall forward and won't hurt him. Let's put a ground line in. And some cartoon effects and accessories, we cannot forget those. Some perspiration. Maybe even a uh-oh. He's thinking because he didn't make it. And some cartoon effects where he made contact. And some speed lines. How's that? He just jumped. And some swirlies here. Make it look like it has some movement to it. Now, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use my kneaded rubber eraser here, and I'm going to erase the pencil lines that we started with. And this is the basic method for creating a cartoon. You start with pencil, lay out your cartoon, make all your changes accordingly. and then ink it in. When you're done inking it in, go over the whole drawing with your eraser. And I'm using a kneaded eraser, but you can use a pink eraser. You can use an eraser on the tip of a pencil. It all works. And then you dust off the crumbs, pencil lines go, the ink lines stay, and you've got your finished cartoon. Let's put some color into this guy. Now, it's always a good idea, especially with sports cartoons, to lay out your cartoon with stick figures. Now, you might say that, well, do you always do that, Bruce, or do all cartoonists do that? And the answer is pretty much yes. Because if you don't lay it out with stick figures and put some sort of foundation down, you know what's going to happen? Your cartoons could look stiff. You know what? I'm going to put a line over here for his socks, so I don't put the color right down past that. You don't want your drawings to look stiff. There's a little bit of red here for his cheeks, plus he's blushing here because he's missing it. Color this in red. All right, how about some green for the ground? You know what, we'll use some red for his shorts. And how about some yellow for the background? That way it separates him a little bit from all that white and makes the drawing a little more alive. And he's running a race, and that's kind of fast, so I'll play you some fast running music. You take a look at that. All right, let's get started and do our next bit. Wait a minute. It's time for the gag sketch of the day. And today is a pun. You take a look at this one and tell me if you can figure this one out. Okay, now maybe you have one of these at home. Maybe you don't. He's taking a chomp out of that, and this is 4 he's, which makes this a 4-gigabyte computer. That's right, 4-gigabyte computer. Pretty good, huh? All right. Well, let's do our next sketch, and this is going to be of a girl playing basketball in high school. So let's start with our pencil and lay out our stick figure again. 4-gigabyte computer. You heard that. Okay, there, that oval there is going to be for her head, and let's have her leaning forward a little bit, like that. Now, her knees are going to be meeting, and then her legs are going to flare out like that, kind of a funny cartoon stance. Now, this is going to demonstrate what's called a ghosting effect, and this is kind of cool. She's going to be blocking a shot that somebody else is going to be taking. I'll move my marker now, and show you a real neat effect for creating real movement to your drawings. Let's put her expression in now. What would her expression be? Well, she's determined. A big smile, maybe her tongue's out like that, and her eyes are like this, wide open, trying to pay attention to what's going on. And here's her ear. And let's see, she's playing sports, so she probably has her hair pulled back, so let's give her a ponytail. All right, let's define that shape that we started with. All right, now let's take this whole area right here and put a t-shirt on her. And this is why it's called a t-shirt, folks, because it really is a T. Just go over that shape, thicken it up a little bit. Now, we're going to put her forearm in, so we take that line and we taper it at the wrist, come up for her forearm. Same thing here. Now, I'm going to pass that circle a little bit, but as I said, it's just a guideline. Now, we're going to put her hand in. Here's her thumb, and she's blocking a shot, so her fingers would be real spread out. And in a moment, I'll show you some real movement with that. Okay, here's our other hand. Fingers. All right, now let's put her shorts on. Square. And just divide it like that. And let's put her calves in. Now, just like we did with the forearm, it tapers down at the ankle. Starts out a little bit thicker. And let's put some socks on her. And here's shoes, some detail down there like some laces, and a shadow. Let's give her a number. How about number 5? And some cartoon effects and accessories, some perspiration, and here it is. Here's the fun part. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to create a ghosting effect. Don't get scared. What we're going to create is her arms moving around like crazy. Of course, if she's blocking a shot, she'd be like this all over the place, right? But this is only a still drawing on a page, and we have to create that illusion of movement. So watch what I do. We draw what is already there and kind of go around in a circle. This is the sleeve. Now we're going to draw the forearm, but we're drawing it very lightly, redrawing it very lightly, just to kind of simulate that shape a little bit. Same thing with the hands. Curves. And for the fingers, we can even do that. Go up like this. Now, it doesn't quite work yet, but if we do this, watch what happens. She looks like a windmill, and that works real good. All right, let's put a background on here, a background line, horizon line, and there we have her blocking a shot. Let's put some color into her. So you have to feel the action. You know, athletes and cartoonists are very much alike. Why? Because we both have to practice really hard to get good. But you know, that's true of anything, isn't it? Musical instrument, schoolwork, whatever. All right, this is good. You know, I went to a sporting event, to a basketball game, and I watched a fellow sink one in a basket, and everybody start yelling and screaming how great it was. And cartoonists and athletes are not quite alike, because around here, if I get something in a basket, that means it wasn't very good, right? I have to crinkle it up and throw it into the basket. Not the same thing. No one cheers around here. All right, let me see. I use a little blue here for her outfit. Let's give her stripes up here, blue trunks, and some brown for her hair. And now some red. Well, let's see. Let's give her some red on the cheeks. Tongue would be red. And for those cartoon effects, well, you know what we have to do? We have to go back with the same color that we drew her arms, and if we're really going to have a ghosting effect, we'd have to do it like this. Same thing with the fingers. And we can just slosh that color on. Remember, you don't want to make this too neat, because that won't get the movement. You know what? I'll even add a little bit of blue for the sleeve where I did that. See, anything that was already there, we want to do it again. And we can even smear it by doing stuff like this. Maybe a little bit more with the peach, and maybe some red. You know what, I'll use purple this time for the effects. That way we add a little bit more movement and a little more color. All right, there she is. All right, let's do another sketch. And this time, I'm going to draw somebody that is diving. Now this is a little bit interesting because it's not quite realistic, in that people don't dive this way, but that's what makes it a little bit more interesting, because it is a cartoon. Now that is going to be his head, and that is going to be his arm going through his head. And his body arcs like that, and I think that's a little bit more extreme than what would really happen. That's why I say it's a little bit more cartoonified, but that's what you want to do. And right here, that will indicate his waist, maybe his knee, and this shape here will be his feet. Now, I don't know how that's going to work out, but that's why we're penciling it in first. So let's go back and ink it in and see what we come up with. Now, the first thing I'm going to draw is his arm. That is in the closest thing to us, because it overlaps his face. That way we can go back. That's the shoulder. This is his forearm, tapering down at the wrist. Come back, same thing. Now, that's his hand up there. Now, here's what I mean. See, he covered a lot of his face. Now, let's put his face in. And he's facing that way. That's his nose. And let's give him a big, confident smile. Big smile. His lower lip is out. His chin is out like that. And let's give a U shape for his eyes. He's very, very confident about this dive. But he better open his eyes soon, because he's in for a major belly flop if he doesn't. Now, his hand up here. Well, his hand is kind of twisted at the wrist in an interesting way. Of course, it is a swan dive, and it's supposed to look like, I guess, feathers. So here's his fingers spread apart. And this is his palm. His palm is facing us. So his hand is actually turned around. Okay, over here, same thing. Here's his wrist. Put his back line in there. And, well, his thumb is facing forward. And this time, his palm is facing the other side. That way it's consistent. And there'll be his knuckles. All right, this is working out. Now let's put his torso in, right up to where his bathing suit will be. And this jaggedy line here, that'll be the elastic of his bathing suit. Now, he is arced pretty good here, isn't he? And let's see. Okay, this will be his knee up here. I'm going to alter that a little bit. And go straight down. Now watch what I do. Make some funny toes. The ball of his foot, the heel of his foot, and come back up for his calf and his thigh. And go back and do the same thing. Just a little bit peeking out for his other foot. And there he is. Some cartoon effects and accessories on this guy. Some perspiration. How's that? Maybe a diving board. And you notice how I bent the diving board. Now they bend, but we're going to bend it a little bit more. And some ghosting effect for this too. Of course, it just went sproing, cartoon effect, accessory, in this case, a sound effect. And that splash line there. And we have to make a big line that arcs around to show how he jumped off. Now let's put some water in there. He's a little close to the water, and this is what I was talking about, the belly flop. I'm going to erase the pencil lines a little bit. Right over his face. And he's pretty graceful. I think he came out pretty good. I'll put a little color into him. All right. Now, I hope you're following along with me at home because, as you see, we take things step by step. It's not that intimidating, is it? Just like sports, like we said before. You don't start in the Olympics, but you could get there if you start small, just like we're doing here. Let's see, what kind of trunks should we give him? How about we give him purple trunks? And I'm going to use some chalk here to create some water. Now watch, I lay it chalk on the side, and you get a nice flowing line that gradually gets a little bit lighter. See how nice that is? Okay, I'll tell you what. You take a look at that. Now, because he's graceful, I'll play a little graceful music. Ready? Well, that's all the time we have for right now. Now, a good way to practice is to get a hold of a sports magazine, and there's tons of action pictures in there. And what you do is, same thing we did here, humorize and simplify. Now stay tuned for the feature of the day. Now for our feature today, we're going to turn the moon into a cartoon. And a couple of young artists have come by to help me with this today. I'd like to introduce them to you right now. Tell everybody your name, please.
I'm Renee.
Hi, Renee.
I'm Nick.
Hi, Nick. Welcome to the show, guys. All right, now we all have a sketch, the same sketch of the moon. And what we're going to do is turn the moon into a cartoon. And we're going to do this simply by adding facial accessories like eyebrows, mustaches, beards, anything you want. All ready? All right, let's turn the moon into a cartoon. All right, let's see what we've got. Renee, we'll start with you.
I drew a bear
Yes, you did. Very good.
with the big black nose, circles for the ears, and lots of fur.
Nice job. How about you, Nick?
I drew a woman and I gave her a hat,
I like that hat. Go ahead.
some lips,
Uh-huh.
and long curly hair.
It's a great cartoon character. Now, I made a cowboy. I put a mustache, some bushy eyebrows, and a hat. Now, you can do this exercise at home simply by creating a cartoon like the moon and either run it off in a copy machine to make a lot of copies or take a piece of tracing paper and lay the tracing paper on top of the sketch and make all your changes to the tracing paper. And by using tracing paper, you can do this exercise over and over again without altering the original drawing. It's great fun, and you'll be surprised at all the possible combinations. Thanks, guys. Thanks for helping me out.
You're welcome.
Now stay tuned for cartoon doodle tricks. Welcome to today's Doodle Tricks, and today we're going to do job tunes. But first, I'd like to welcome my friends. Hi, guys.
Hi.
All right, job tunes. We're going to draw things that people use in their job. Now, I'll draw something, and then you tell me who might use this. This is a horseshoe. Now, Lisa, who might use a horseshoe in their job?
A cowboy?
A cowboy, that's exactly right. They ride horses. So let's put a friendly cowboy face, some eyes, a nose, big smile, some ears, and some hair. Now for the hat. Now watch this. Almost like a figure 8 on its side, isn't it? Then you put the hat up there. And for a scarf, tie it here with a circle. 2 lines, looks a little bit like a bunny rabbit, doesn't it? Now let's put his arms in. His hands. Now right here, let's put a little detail on it. For riding. Now let's put his boots in. So from a horseshoe, got a fella who rides a horse. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
All right, let's do another one. This time, I'm going to draw something that a tap dancer might do. The word tap. T-A-P, right? Now, with a little detail, we're going to draw the tap dancer. Make this an arm and a hand. And this will be his jacket. And the other side of his jacket. Let's draw another arm. All right, now for his feet, he's tapping away. There's one leg, here's the other one. And let's put some shadowing down here. And right where he hit the floor, let's put a line like this and some sound effects. What else? Tap, tap. And some musical notes. And some cartoon effects and accessories. Now for his face. His ear. Let's have his eyes closed. He's happy. Big smile. Some hair. And there he is, the tap dancer. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, and I hope you've enjoyed it at home and you guys in the studio. Now, for our tip of the day, the best utensil is a pencil. Pick one up, and you'll learn to draw. I'm Brusa Blica saying thanks for being with me today, and help me out, guys. Keep on cartooning.